Disclaimer before we begin, this is being recorded live, so expect some mistakes. Chapter 11. The lead-lined, radiation-proof and empty boxes in the Ducati top box for just over 2 hours before the courier arrived at a private airfield. A Cessna twin-engine plane was waiting at the far corner of a triangle of runways, its lights glowing and flashing in the gloom. The bike headed straight for it. The man leaped off the Ducati, unlocked the container, and lifted out his cargo with both hands. He marched briskly over to a young Asian woman in a dark blue skirt and white shirt who had appeared at the door of the plane. She took it with only a brief nod to acknowledge the driver and disappeared inside, strapping it into a seat next to her and calling to the pilot. Within a few minutes, the Cessna was climbing into the night sky. The pilot flew southeast, setting a course for Zurich. Below, the lights of Cornwall soon disappeared, and the darkness of the channel filled the plane. Roshana Wing, the woman who'd taken delivery of the box, knew only that she had to hand it over to either Mr. Revere or Mr. Vanden Hauwe. No one else. She'd been working for the Green Corps executives for 2 years, and these errands had become an increasingly common part of her job. They trusted her. She was efficient and had a reputation for ruthlessness, an attribute that quickly led to promotion at Green Corps. She dozed for most of the flight, so missed the lights of the French ports, the French interior, and the mountain tops of the Alps as they crossed the border into Switzerland. The change in engine tone alerted her to their imminent landing, and she adjusted her seat and rearranged her hair. Instinctively, she held out a hand to hold the box in position as they touched down. A couple of hours later, she was being driven through a small, deserted town. The car came to a halt at what appeared to be the old town hall, and she opened the door and climbed the steps to a large, dark oak door, which opened as she approached. Inside, the impression was of luxury. The carpet, furniture, and paintings were top of the range, but the air had a chemical, metallic tang, and the light was harsh. She walked briskly past the abandoned offices and workstations. Every computer, every lamp, every machine was on. She walked straight into her office, throwing her jacket on the desk, and, with the lead box in her left hand, knocked on a glass door with her light. She could see the blurred outlines of the two men sitting at a long table. They appeared to be ending a video conference call, and Roshana waited for them to call her in. She knew to knock only the once. After less than a minute, Christophe Revere opened the door, and Jean Vanden Hauwe greeted her. Together they headed for a small laboratory, where she handed the Frenchman the lead box. He placed it on the table, and Vanden Hauwe took a key out of his pocket, snapped the plastic seal, and unlocked the chain. 2 technicians in protective suits came in and carried the box through to a brightly lit glass-walled booth. On getting a nod from the Dutchman, they undid the clips together, opened the lid together, and looked inside together. Then one of them pulled out the polystyrene case. Taking the 2 halves apart, he found nothing. He dropped both halves onto the table and tipped the box up. A few polystyrene chips fell out. The other technician rearranged some of them, but, finding nothing, looked at the Green Corps bosses and shook his head. Removing his helmet, he brought the box out so that Revere could inspect it for himself. After a brief glance, the Frenchman picked up the box and hurled it through the glass door Roshana had just closed behind her. She recognized some of the Dutch and French swear words. Before all the glass had crashed and splintered onto the floor of the office, Revere was on the phone to England.